yeah. So are we recording now?
Yeah, yep.
Oh, is that what that means?
Uh-huh.
Oh, no. All right. Oh, yeah, okay, now I see it.
Yeah,
Oh, goodness, I look beautiful. What's going on, guys? This is MMB here with, of course, AJ.
What's up?
We're doing our thing here. Actually, I'm a huge Star Wars fan.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about this last movie that just came out a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm. The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi. Yes, Star Wars The Last Jedi came out December 15th. Already has grossed $1.3 billion.
Billion with a B.
With the B, yes. And I saw it twice. How many times did you see it?
Once. Saw it once.
Saw it once. I just don't know how to feel about this movie. I mean, it's beautiful to look at, and there's so much going on, but it was a little bit of a disconnect for me.
Okay.
As a Star Wars fan. Like, what did you think of just the look of the movie before we get into all the plots and stuff?
Yeah. So no, I agree. I think the look of the movie. I mean, there was obviously some awesome scenes in there. You know, when they're riding the whatever they were, like the horse type things through. You know,
the Canal Bite.
Yeah.
The Canal Bite. When they went to the casino planet.
Yeah. So,
okay.
No, I thought there was a lot of the look of the movie was great. It was excellent. However, Yoda was looking a little ridiculous. That's just my opinion. I'm sorry, but Yoda was looking a little off.
Send all your hate tweets to
He's looking a little drunk.
Drunk ass Master Yoda. Okay. I mean, when I first saw that, not to jump around too much, when I first saw that, I was like, what is that? Like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
But it makes sense, and as far as where the movie takes, the time period when the movie takes place.
Yeah.
Because Yoda was, when we saw him originally, it wasn't, it just, to kind of peel back, it was a puppet.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So it was, and he was made to be an old man or old little, creature, Yoda. I don't know what he is. But anyway, he was made to be like an old man. He was wise, but he's some kind of senile at the same time.
Yeah.
He's been by himself for a long time, and he had to find ways. So I do think that it was truer to the original Star Wars that came out in the 70s and the 80s than the one that we saw with the prequels that were in the 2000s.
Makes
right?
sense. Yeah.
But with that, when it came on, because you were so fresh with because I didn't watch any of the old stuff again. I didn't go back and have a marathon session of 8 weeks of watching all these movies because it takes forever to get through them.
Yep. Even
Even though they're great, I do like the prequels, so send your hate tweets to me at MMB72. But I thought that it was a little weird because I was so used to just seeing the computer, the CGI Yoda.
Yeah.
And he was younger, and then it was, things that were going on. So with that being said, just jumping into the movie, I saw it the first time in 3D, which I hate 3D. Not a big fan of 3D at all. Yeah. And when I didn't know that it was in 3D, I was at some kind of fan event, and they were like, "Oh, it's gonna be great! You get a free cup." I was like, "Cool, that's cool."
Yeah.
You can see the movie early, and it cost you $12 more than normal ticket. So All right.
Yeah.
So, but when I handed her my ticket stub and she handed me the glasses, I was like, son of a bitch. I was so mad.
They got you.
Exactly. And I was like, all right, I'm going to give it a chance.
Uh-huh.
You know, I got a big head, man. Those glasses they're not made for people with large domes. I got a lot of stuff going on up here.
Yeah.
But, you know, I gave it a shot. I sat back and I looked and I was like, okay, this is Star Wars. This is it. This is awesome. Then you get to the first scene where they are doing a prank call type thing where he's calling for General Hux.
Yeah.
And then General Hux answers. He's like, "Oh, I'm still waiting," and all. It was a funny bit.
Yeah.
But did it need to be there? Did it need to be there? And that would set the tone for a lot of the movie.
Yep.
And I just don't understand as somebody's phone is going off in the background. You know, we're just going to ignore that. But anyway, I just felt that it didn't need to be there.
Yeah.
And you had so much material to work with from the Force Awakens. We wanted to focus more on there was a lot of that was left unsaid, and a lot of things that were left open, and a lot of new characters that you could have built upon. And I think that some of the comedic elements fell short.
Yeah.
So that being said, that you got that part, and then there's a big battle scene, and you get the Star Wars fight scene, you get the space scene. That was amazing, right?
Yep.
Then you have your, rebel fighters. They're trying to escape. They're trying to get out of this, and they want. I think did they have the device already? That was brought up later. After Finn he wakes up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Finn wakes up and he's walking around when Poe comes back from the battle that they destroyed. That was. Okay.
Yep.
The big thing was he wanted to take down this one ship.
Yep.
But it cost most of their fleet.
Yep, they all got destroyed, and then there was that one lady that was left, and she happened to hit the button to destroy it.
Yeah.
But they lost all their pilots. They lost all their
the bombers.
Yeah, the bombers.
Yeah. That was an amazing. That was a really cool scene. I really did like it. So we get to see, and I'm not gonna do this whole throughout the whole thing. I can't. There's been 2 months. Whatever. And I forgot to tell you. Spoiler alerts. So I'm just gonna whatever I can remember. I'm gonna say it.
Yep.
So I just was with the comedic elements in that first part. Then you immediately have that tragic but really cool scene where a lot of lives are sacrificed, and it looks good and it's amazing. Then you go to more struggle with Leia and the Poe character. He's he gets demoted for destroying half the fleet, basically just being too aggressive. And not thinking more for the resistance, but for more just the glory.
Yep.
Now you get to the part where I was like, more comedy. Finn is walking around. He wakes up and he's walking around in this suit and there's leaking water everywhere.
Yeah.
And you would think that, well, maybe not. It's a big battle scene going on, but somebody would say something to somebody just walking around, spilling water everywhere.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just something small, and I was thinking about what is this? Okay, it's a way to bring them back into the fold, I guess. He immediately asks where Rey is, and Rey is out there with Luke.
Yep.
And that is another big thing, a big topic of contention for a lot of people, is that the way that Luke was portrayed. In my opinion, I think that it was good. Could it have been better, but it could have been, but who's to say?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not the one telling the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as far as when Luke came on, at the end of Force Awakens, you see him, and then they kind of pick right back up where they left off.
Yep.
What did you think about his initial reaction to Rey?
So, you know, I could kind of put myself in his shoes and understand, like, hey, I left all this crap, you know, why you coming to me, but why you? You know what I mean? Why you? Why now? You know, and so he was acting like a brat. I mean, you know, in all honesty, he was acting like a brat, but at the same time, if you left all that and you understand, like, the power of the Force and, you know, like, what this could mean potentially, I understand, like, hey, I just want to live my days, die out, and be the last, you know, not knowing that she was also, you know, a Jedi and had those powers. So, but no, I definitely think, I guess I don't have an opinion whether his role was good or bad. I just kind of state what I saw, you know.
So, I mean, I really did think that his character in the movie was good, but it was missing something. It was lacking. I just don't know exactly what it was. I thought, and again, you get comedy elements.
Yeah.
With those, whatever that creature was when he was getting the milk.
Yeah.
And how weird that looked. And I was just like, what is this?
Yeah.
You know, he's there, he throws a lightsaber over his shoulder, walks away, and he doesn't, and like you said, he just, I don't want to do this. Why are you here? You know, what's going on?
Yeah.
We didn't know that he had turned himself off to the Force.
Yeah, we didn't know.
We didn't know that at that time. So he was not going. He wasn't in tune with what was going on at all. He didn't know. He was just kind of isolated. He came there to die. You saw the X-wing in the water, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah.
And you know, I thought that was going to come into play later. Spoiler, it didn't. Okay. But anyway, you have that dynamic there that you're building up. It seems like it could be a potential for something where it's a mentee and a student, or a mentor and a student, and he's teaching her, and we get a little bit of that. But I also think that if they did just go to a straight, you know, training montage for example, it'll be too cliche.
True.
You know,
I agree. They changed it up enough to where it was, because I think that's what everyone expected to happen. It was going to be Luke training her, and she becomes the next masterful Jedi to defeat, you know. And they didn't play out that way. So I think sometimes the customer wants, you know, it's kind of like Steve Jobs says, sometimes you got to tell the customer what they want, because they don't always know what they want, you know. That's
a good point. That's a really good point. And it's art, right? And essentially this is art. I mean, and I know that there's a lot of people that are invested in Star Wars, and I'm one of them, that really love in the mythos and all that good stuff. But we're not in control. You know, if I sat down and wrote a Star Wars, or tried to write a Star Wars movie, it would be a lot different than if you were trying to write a Star Wars movie. Anybody, it would not be the same.
No.
So it is what it is, so to speak. Okay. They didn't. I think they treated the characters with respect. Yeah. And they did some things that were unexpected, and to me, that was quite refreshing. Yeah. You just didn't go through the same old tropes. Just like, you know, let's just do the run of the mill Star Wars movie. They took the opportunity to take that massive budget, the stars, the actors and stuff that they had in place, and were able to create a story set in the Star Wars universe with some familiar characters, and they were able to give us something that was, I think, unique. Yeah. I think in itself, it's unique. Now, is that good or bad, it's still the question that I'm left with. Is that they took a lot of directions that I wasn't expecting, and I, you know, as a movie goer and as a film student, believe it or not, I'm a film student. Anyway, I graduated. Believe it or not.
You graduated.
I graduated, yeah. But you know, you find it refreshing that you just don't go by the paint by the numbers thing.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, you take it and you move it, and you are able to go somewhere totally unexpected, and it was in a good way to me.
Yeah.
So like, what did you think of? Like, you brought up something earlier, and we're just going to jump around and whatever comes into this head, I'm gonna spit it out. But you brought up something earlier that I just can't get out. The part that I did dislike the most. You brought up when they were on the horses, things riding through the casino. Hated that scene.
Did you?
Hate's a strong word.
Yeah.
Thought it looked beautiful.
Yeah.
And it didn't like take me out of it. Still felt very Star Wars-y, you know, whatever, if that's a word. Anyway, it had that feel to it. But it just felt out of place.
Yeah.
For this particular movie and that situation. Yeah. It really did. I did not think that we needed that scene just to kind of go over. I think it was kind of saying a political message. It was, you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Don't be a menace. Like, message is like all in your face, you know. So I didn't think it was necessary, and then to come and find out, it really wasn't necessary, because what they were doing it for was, it didn't make any sense, because the fleet already had a plan. Yeah. If they had just told him that, it would have been nothing.
It was truly unnecessary.
Yes. Yeah. So, what was it about that scene that you liked?
I mean, in all honesty, I like the way it looked. I like the chase, and I like the kids getting involved, and you know, they're going and they're getting to the edge of the cliff, and then they got to turn back, and I thought it was pretty creative. And how they sent them, and they're running through the casino, and all these people are getting out of the way. Yeah. You know, so I thought it looked appealing. Yeah. In terms of memorability, you know, being a memorable scene, I guess that's why it's most memorable to me. But in terms of like the bigger picture, you're right. It really didn't have a place. It really didn't make sense, because first off, the guy wasn't there. You know, I think they showed him for like half a second, the guy they were looking for. Yeah. But I mean, it was like, then you got this robber, and this robber is like getting him out of jail, and like it was kind of all over the place. Yeah. But I guess you know what it was necessary is because it turns back later where that robber betrays them, and then the whole thing happens.
And I just thought about that, because you brought up the kids. I forgot about the kids.
Yes.
And at the end of the movie, one of those kids that he uses the Force to show that there's hope. Yeah. When you think that there is no hope, there is hope, and there will be. Yeah. So, and all against all odds, which, okay, I get it. I don't want to give it a pass. I don't hate it. When I walked out of the theaters, I was like, what was that the first time? And I was like, why was that? Was that necessary? Upon, you know, taking the time to go over it and kind of really see and think about it, and he brought up a good point, you needed to have that with the kids, because that was the only way you will be able to, because they're basically the future. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And you saw what it was able to do, what the Force was when it was awakened, because, and that's a whole nother big arching storyline, that the Force, to me, awakens in Rey in the first movie, because we find out that Luke had turned himself off to the Force. Yeah. And so then you see people's abilities being heightened, even if they have some ability with the Force. It elevates, right? Yeah. And Rey is probably the biggest one, because he's a central character. But also you see which a lot of people, it's either good or bad with Leia.
Yeah.
When that scene, when Kylo is coming to attack her.
Yep.
And he hesitates. He doesn't pull the trigger, but his squad mates takes her out.
Yep.
And he fires on the ship when she's in there and she's blown out of the ship.
Yep.
In space. And she starts to freeze over.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, oh my God, this is it. Because we know what happened, you know, to Carrie Fisher.
Yep.
And I think this is it. This is how it's gonna happen.
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I know.
Her hand starts to move. She's wiggling and she reaches out and she pulls herself back to the ship with the Force.
Yeah.
A lot of people that I've you know talked to and have watched, you know, other, you know, podcasts and things like that, or videos on YouTube, they have said that, you know, that's ridiculous. Oh, now she's, you know, Superman flying to space, you know, all of this stuff, all up in arms about this, you know. But I also heard some people who are like, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And or they weren't as up in arms about it. Like, oh my goodness, it's so bad, and this just killed the character and things like that. What did you think of that scene in particular?
I thought it was unexpected. I did not. I mean, I didn't expect that at all. Right? And I did question it. You know, I'm like, how did she do that? You know what I mean? Like, how did she do that?
Yeah.
So yeah, it caught me off guard. I mean, I think it was strange. You know, it's the best word that, you know, you could describe it as, is it was strange. Now, obviously, if you're rooting for the good guys, right, then you know, you liked it, the outcome. But I thought it was strange.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way to describe it. You know, strange. It wasn't not good, not bad, unexpected.
Unexpected. Yeah.
And that's again pretty much a theme throughout this whole movie. A lot of unexpected things happen, which to me it's good. Some people it's bad. It just all depends. But that scene in particular, I was like, okay. When I first saw it, I was like, wow, this is weird.
Yeah.
But then I was like, that's cool. The second time I saw it, I was like, okay, it makes sense. It makes sense. She, once you realize that the Force is now reaching out and trying to get a hold of people, she is a Skywalker.
True.
She has a bloodline of one of the most powerful Jedis ever. And one of the most dangerous Siths ever in Darth Vader. It makes sense to me. All right, and you know, and then the other most powerful person cut itself off. It's reaching out to find some people. So I enjoyed that aspect. As I am so sorry about that, but anyway. Then we get to another scene where it caused me to pull a CNC Music Factory. Things that make me go,
Which scene is that?
The Snoke.
Okay.
Snoke and Rey, and I know we're jumping and I'm missing kind of the things that the Rey and Kylo are able to talk to each other.
Yep. Telepathy.
They're using the Force, which we find out is General Snoke manipulating the Force for them to do that. But they're in different places, but they're talking to each other. Rey sees something in Kylo. She knows that he's conflicted. She thinks that she can bring him to the light side because she realizes that Luke is not gonna come. Yeah, he's not the Jedi. He's not the answer that they're looking for. No. But she gets there. They bring her to the room. Snoke's there. You know, he already had kind of chastised Kylo for being weak in the beginning, towards the beginning of the movie, and hiding behind the mask, trying to be a fake Vader. You know, he didn't say that exactly, but
that's what he was.
That's what he was implying. Yeah, he was not as good as Vader, never will be. Kylo gets upset, obviously. Throws a temper tantrum and destroys the mask.
Yeah, punches it in the elevator.
Leaves a big mess for everybody. But they're there on the ship, on Snoke's ship.
Yep.
He's telling, Rey is fighting, trying to resist Snoke. And she's doing a good job of it. And, you know, and then here's Snoke, you know, pontificating about how he's this and how he's that. He knows everything. Yeah. He reveals that he was manipulating the Force to do that. He knows all about Kylo and what he's thinking and what he wants to do.
Yep.
What he does not know is that Kylo's about to kill him.
No, he did not. He
didn't
not
see
know
that at all.
No.
How did he not know that? And you know, and he even says he's about to strike down something that he really despises. And how do you not know? I mean, I know these aren't Sith lords. They're just they don't call them Sith.
Yeah.
He doesn't, you know, they're just they're on the dark side of the Force, or but it's not Sith, right?
Yeah.
But still, you got to understand that if you have an apprentice, and they are eventually going to try to kill you.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's a given.
Especially if you treat them like shit.
Yeah, exactly.
So, or you know, and I know it's tough love or whatever, but he was just being an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
And then he let his arrogance get the best of him.
Yeah.
Again, like that's a typical bad guy move.
Yeah.
You got you always see it at the end of the movie, the bad guys telling the story or telling what this is why I did this.
Yeah.
This is exactly why, telling everything was going on and why he did it. And then he just, the hero grabs him and kills him and stops with the plans, whatever he's going to do. Why are you telling him that? Just kill him.
Yeah.
Just get it over with. Don't stop talking.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's an exposition move, and I understand it. But anyway, back to this. He did not see it coming for some reason. It was just terrible.
Yeah.
And he got bisected. And it was very satisfying to see.
Oh, yeah.
It was very satisfying to see. And then the fight with his guards that Kylo and Rey together fought off his guards. Mm-hmm. What did you think of that scene?
The whole scene overall, I thought, obviously I was like, wow, I did not expect, him to kill him, right? But then the fight scene, I thought the fight scene was pretty good. I know Rey almost died. She's getting kind of whooped at one point, and she gets saved by Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
And they kind of help each other out. And then it goes into the next part where they kind of got to make a decision which way they're going to go. And that brought up a whole nother, because you figure, hey, this, it's over now, right? You don't have to worry. He's gone, right? He's gone. And then all of a sudden it's like, no. You were wrong. I'm still over here. And I'm still over here. And I'm not willing to cross the other line. So,
yeah. Again. Yeah. Unexpected, right?
Unexpected.
Because you figured that one other that it was going to happen, and but again, it was so refreshing to me.
Yeah.
That he decided that now he's the supreme leader.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you join me so we can rule the galaxy.
Yep.
Instead of she saw something, the conflict, and apparently that conflict was gone. Mm-hmm. And then I just thought that was amazing. Storytelling.
Yeah.
The fight scene was cool. It left a little bit to be desired for me.
Okay.
But it was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I just wanted to see a little bit more from, but again, we're talking about somebody that's not trained.
True.
We're talking about somebody that's not trained, but we're also talking about somebody who's really been trained by a master, 2 masters.
Yeah.
And he was still struggling.
Yeah.
But okay, it is what it is. They're guarding him for a reason, so they must be powerful. But you don't really know who they are. But it left a little bit to be desired, but it was still good nonetheless.
Yeah.
And so you move forward with that, knowing that he is now taking over.
Yeah.
And when the General Hux comes in and gets choked out,
that was epic.
Oh, it was so fun just to see. Those are the elements of comedy that I liked.
Yeah.
Those are the elements of comedy that I liked. That that was and it was in context. And then you had those little creatures on the island with Luke.
Yeah, the ones that were fixing the
that did not like Rey because she kept messing stuff up.
Yeah.
Again, it was funny, but I liked it. I thought it was interesting, and I thought it was just a good way to kind of bring some elements into something that's very, very heavy.
Yep.
Some levity to it. You brought something to where she's not, it's just like it just really helped it out to me.
Yeah.
What did you think of those little penguin things that Chewbacca was?
Oh yeah, was gonna eat. Man, I was a little mad for Chewie because he's hungry. He just traveled all this way, come bring them back, and he's getting ready to eat, and all of a sudden these things start giving him a hard time. And he knocks them all out of the way. And then there's that one that looks at him with those big old eyes. Yeah. And then Chewie goes, I felt bad. I felt like they did Chewie wrong because he had already cooked it. It wasn't like the thing was alive, you know what I mean? So
yeah, he's not coming back.
Yeah, he's coming back. You might as well let him eat, So yeah, I thought that was a little messed up to Chewie.
This is a long. Well, I only know of one example. Chewie, in the beginning, in the first Star Wars, doesn't get a medal.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a medal except for Chewie. Chewie is stuck with C-3PO on his back in the later movies. Yeah. It's terrible and it's annoying. All right. He loses his best friend in the second movie. Yeah. And who does Leia hug? Not him, Rey.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's about what are we really doing with Chewie? Who did Chewie mess with? What did he do to somebody to really get everybody to just diss him like that?
And all he ever does is help.
All he does is help, and he's super cool. But I mean, I thought that was a really, really funny part.
Yeah.
And it's not much with the character of Chewie. I mean, he's a good friend, a good mechanic, and a pilot. But it's not a whole lot of development there.
No.
He's not a comic relief like the droids were in the first movies. But he's a good. It's just a good all around, secondary, third tier character that you have in these movies to complement, and they kind of have that nostalgia feel to me.
Yeah, bring back the feel of the old ones.
Yeah, but it's not but it's good that they he's not in it as much. So that was cool. Now the fact that they all end up on the boat, or on the ship, the Millennium Falcon, at one point is hilarious. Yeah. That was pretty funny. And in the commercial, I thought we were doing another Jar Jar Binks. Yeah. And I was just like, oh God, no. Yeah. But I was like, all right, I have faith in what's going on. But okay, so then we get to the scene where Luke decides that he, all this time he rejoins the Force.
Yeah.
Right? So he tells Rey what happened with him and Kylo. After he had to be cajoled to tell the truth, because he kind of held something away from her at first.
Yeah, he did.
Well, I mean, before I get into that, the last part, what did you think of Luke and that particular story, that story arc of him going into the room with Kylo sleeping? What did you think about that?
You know, at first, when Luke told the story, obviously, you know, I could understand it. But then later in the movie, you see Kylo Ren tell his rendition of the story, and he hadn't made a decision. He was conflicted, but he hadn't made a decision yet. And Luke turned his decision to the dark side, which tells you a lot, because Luke was feeling guilty and felt like, you know, all these things. But in reality, the real reason Luke felt guilty is because he tipped that boulder over the edge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I thought it was interesting that Luke was that conflicted over it that he couldn't even tell the truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that it was that was another thing that made me kind of like, man, that was different. It was different because you're dealing with the light dark, and this was one of those decisions. Usually if you were on the light, you're already there. You make the right decision. In movies speak, you know, real life is not like that. It's always a gray area. A lot of people live in the gray area. But it's difficult to see a master Jedi or someone that's portrayed to be very pure and heart and things like that, and his reasoning for being who he is very positive and things like that. To have that kind of that thought, and it was like, wow, it makes sense, but did it go against the whole character of Luke? But he saw something. Yeah. And you know, again, as you get older, you see different things, and you grow, and it's more of a decision that he made that he thought would be better for the whole galaxy.
Yeah, the bigger picture.
Exactly. It was a very bigger picture. He thought that's what he thought, and it was cool to see both the different sides. Yeah. And it was good to see that what the outcome was, that he pretty much did. He was already in connection with Snoke, or the dark side. And then that just put him over, sent him over the edge. So, and another thing is that if you are a Jedi and you notice that he's doing this is going on, your instinct, Luke's instinct is to try to kill him instead of confronting him and telling him.
Yeah, exactly.
And talking to him.
Trying to sway him.
Try to sway him back.
Yeah.
That was like, okay, it was unexpected, it was different, and I was like that. But I'm willing to let that go. Yeah. You know, I can understand, for the sake of the movie's purposes, it makes sense. Yeah. So the next little bit before I get to the end scene, the ending part of the movie, was the revelation of Rey's parentage. That was a big bone of contention leading up to this movie, right? Huge. People were, it's going to be, it's Han, it's Leia, it's this and that. Yeah. It's Spock from Star Trek. It was all kind of craziness going on. So people are gonna hate me for that, but it was revealed that when she went down to the dark side, that part of the cave, yes, and I thought we were going to see a clear picture, and it looked like it was Han and Leia at first, because I was thinking, and I think that they were set it up, and they did it beautifully, that they had a connection. Kylo Ren and Rey had a connection, that they were brother and sister. That's what it kind of felt like. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't,
Mm-hmm.
and it was revealed that they were just, you know, junkers that left her and sold her for whatever.
Yeah.
And was left on the planet. She has no connection to any of the previous Force users that we are aware of in this galaxy, which again, unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
But it works because it shows that if you have hope, the Force will find those that are able and that have that in them, and will give them the abilities to do something with that and turn it into something positive. And I think that was a good message to have in the movie, because it's not all about Skywalkers and you know, Jedis and things like that. It's the Force surrounds you and it builds you up, and it will attach itself into those who are, I guess, I don't know, some pure heart or whatever she was, or whatever, you know, they have the good intentions. You know, I'm losing the terminology on that side. You know, I apologize for that, but that was cool, and that was a good unexpected twist. And I wanted it to be something like, oh man, you know,
like epic.
You gotta want that, but then when you sit back and think about it in the big scheme of things, it makes sense, and it gives it a much deeper message to me. So, and then we go into the last part. All right, now how far do you remember the last part? You remember it? All right, so let's run down the last part for us. We'll run it down, and then we'll get into thoughts.
Okay, so you know, all hope is lost. You know, Leia and the rest of the rebellion are in there, and there's only a few of them left, and they're getting ready to take off, and they're getting ready to be destroyed. And then all of a sudden, Luke shows up. And Luke shows up, and he comes in, talks to them for a minute, and then he walks outside, and he's standing there, and there's this whole fleet of ships, and ships, and they're all there, and Kylo Ren is just losing his mind, and he has all these ships blast on Luke. And when I say blast,
epic.
They what'd you say, 50,000 rounds?
It had to be more than that. It was a lot of ships, and oh my God, it was amazing. He just said everything. Oh man,
everything. And then all of a sudden, the smoke clears, and Luke's still there.
He's so badass. Oh, it was so badass.
Oh man.
So, and then
you want to take the rest? You want to take from there?
Okay, so he's standing there, brushes his shoulder off, and now Kylo's had it, because Kylo's firmly implanted as the supreme leader. He made sure that he's going to deal with the problem now himself, because he realizes that he has to do it, and he wants to strike him down, and there's no doubt that he's the most powerful Jedi or whatever in this galaxy. Powerful force. He comes down, and I didn't notice the first time, and after I watched a couple reviews online, I paid attention the second time. So Luke talks to Kylo, and tells him the same thing that Obi-Wan told Darth Vader. You strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you ever can imagine. All right, cool. They have a fight. Well, basically, Kylo lunges angrily at. He says, "You strike me down in anger, I will come back." And so basically, he disobeys and he angrily is lunging at Luke, and Luke's dodging everything. Totally missing. Now, where they are at this particular base, there's this sand, and if you step on it, it turns red.
It turned red.
So you could see the footprints of Kylo moving around, What I did not notice the first time, Luke did not have any footprints.
I didn't notice that either.
So the second time when I watched it, I was paying attention. Like, damn, that is some good shit. And I'll tell you why it's good shit, because it comes to find out Luke was not there. Oh. It was a forced projection.
Yeah.
He's sitting at the island and he...
Good afternoon, MMB.
Hey.
What's up?
And he's sitting at the island, and it was, man, it was so cool to see. I know the theater erupted when they saw him sitting there and just doing the forced projections. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
And then it was, and then you had that epic part, and then you had a really big come down when you find out that took so much out of him. Luke is gone.
He's gone.
And you would think after, the events with Carrie Fisher unfortunately passing away, that would have been, it would have been her who would have moved on.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the director again decided to do something that was not what you would think or to expect, and did really do something that a lot of the fans, when that happened, they were sad.
Yeah.
I was in the full theater the first time, and people were, nobody was sobbing, but people were like, you heard like, oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was so. It just came so quick, and everybody felt the loss. But then you immediately turn around and you see that Rey is now even more powerful.
Yeah.
Because when she was able to move all of those rocks to let them out so they can get on the Millennium Falcon, and that was another cool scene for me.
Yeah.
And it was just like, man, but also at that time, I'm like, how long is this movie? Oh my God. So it kind of took a little bit out both times.
Yeah.
Both times, because and the second time was like, I already knew how long it was. I'm still like, how long is this movie? Man. But it really, really, really kept you going.
Yep.
There weren't a lot of scenes. There weren't a lot of those moments where it's like it was a long movie, but it felt like it was just like an hour and a half.
Yeah, it was engaging the whole time.
Yeah, it really was, and the fact that they had that, it was set in one time, like it was like basically a time sequence, where it was just, it wasn't days or anything like that. It was just they're trying to get away. They're moving. They're moving slowly. They can't go on a hyperspeed. They're just sitting there, and all these things are happening around that main framing of the movie.
Yeah,
it was really cool, and it really, to me, it was like, all right, this is something different and it's unexpected. You don't have a whole bunch of those stupid wipes where it's like, okay, now it's daytime and we're here.
Yeah.
You're still engaged in this moment. It's like, it's almost like, and this is going to be a bad analogy, but like 24, where it was like everything happened in 24 hours, and it was like an hour, something like that. And okay, I already feel dumb for saying it. So I apologize. But anyway, I thought that was good. I thought that the ending was good. I'm looking forward to what they were going to say. The Finn character. They introduced that Rose character in the candlelight scene. That's why I didn't talk about her, because it is what it is. But they have a good interaction. Finn has a really good scene. The general that took over for Leia when she was injured, she had a really good scene when she sacrificed herself.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't get a chance to talk about that, but I just wanted to hit more of the key elements that made me pause and made me think.
Yeah.
Those were just amazing scenes. So if you haven't seen the movie, you should see it.
Yeah, we pretty much ruined it for you, but
yeah.
but you should still see it.
I just realized what I said. Spoilers. Go see the movie though.
Yep.
After I just told you everything about the movie, not in sequence or anything, all over the place.
Yep.
Go see it though.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it's a little ridiculous. But still, if you're a Star Wars fan, you've already seen it anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and if you're a casual fan, you're not gonna watch
You're not
this.
gonna watch this.
Yeah. So I think we're safe. It's still, but if you've already seen the movie, go back and see if you missed some of those key elements. You know, add to that $1.3 billion and go see it again in the theaters if possible, because it's amazing to watch in the theater.
Yeah.
It really is. I think, you know, when I was a kid, I missed out on Star Wars. So seeing the original Star Wars in the theaters.
Yeah.
I know they brought it back a couple times, but I'd already seen them and it wasn't, the magic was gone.
Yeah.
But seeing all the prequels in the theaters, the only way to experience Star Wars the first time is in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
To me.
Okay.
You know, after seeing the first ones on VHS, then seeing the prequels in the theater, that's probably why I hold them. They're not as bad to me because it was a Star Wars movie. You see it in the theater, and it's how it's meant to be. Exactly, the whole experience.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed it. You know, it's a really good movie. I think it's a really unique Star Wars movie, and I hope that they are going to really do it justice to close out this saga.
Yeah.
Any other comments that you have?
No, I agree. I think it was I liked the movie. You know, overall my opinion was positive of it. You know, I think they did a good job. You know, they didn't do what people wanted them to do, but hey, you know, if they just did what everyone expected, then why would you go see it, right?
Exactly.
So.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you all enjoyed it. This is the first MMB Talks Movies. Could be the last. Well, it depends. But I hope you all enjoyed it. Have a good one.
Bye.